Oh, right. So, thank you everyone for attending the session. So, this is a Heartbeats online series, and what our main aim is to really connect volunteers and like-minded individuals, see how our audience can learn more about initiatives and contribute in one way or another in terms of either donations, volunteering their time, or just being aware and spreading the awareness of certain social issues that exist in Singapore. Right. So today we have Rotaract District 3310 as well as Transit Workers Council to share about this initiative. Right. So today we have Tomoe from Transit Workers Council, Kai Ting, and Taiwan from Rotaract. Right. So maybe you can introduce yourselves and about this initiative.
Hello everyone, I'm Kai Ting. I'm from District 3310 Rotaract. So I first got to know about TWC2 through one of my fellow international service director from the Rotaract team. So he shared to me about what TWC2 is doing in this COVID-19 situation, and that he came across a project that they were doing, like which was the raising donations for the migrant workers. So before the mobile phone, it was like some of the other requests, like some electronics or other equipments that the migrant workers needed. So he handed me the contacts of TWC2, and I contacted TWC2 to see how Rotaract can come in to assist them with like their ongoing projects. And that was when I heard about the request for mobile phones for the migrant workers. And I was connected with Tomoe about it. And hence we started a conversation about how Rotaract can come in to help them with this raising donations for the smartphones. Expect.
Yeah, sure. So essentially this phone drive that we're lucky to have the help of Rotaract from, is also part of a wider initiative to deliver things to workers who are in need. I think now there are sort of news reports about how dorms are going to be, cleared, but that's mostly for work. So even as dorms are being cleared and workers are being certified healthy, they are still not allowed to run errands and so on for themselves at the moment. And the gradual clearing of these dorms for workers to go back to work is expected to stretch into August as well. So during this time, we're trying to, sort of help workers get connected with things they need, like snacks, dates, and so on during Ramadan, or important things like phones. Yeah, so this started around like the beginning of May. So I think some of the more important milestones were stuff like Ramadan, especially like delivering things for the men to break fast with. And now, as M1 requires workers to download apps like Trace Together and so on, many of them have found that their phones are incompatible or broken. So this is why the Rotaract Drive has been super helpful in getting like phones to the hands of people who need them.
Okay. Yeah, so hi Nikki and Audrey. Yeah, thanks for having us here. Yeah, so I belong to the same Rotaract club as Kai Ting. We are called the District 3310 Rotaract. So Rotaract is actually a club that has different wings situated in institutions as well as community. And what we do is that we invite youths who are interested to do community service, regardless is it in the local setting or is it overseas setting, and to just form a network where we can bond and also to do good to the community. So some of the things that we do in Rotaract is also to conduct professional workshops or some professional trainings, and mainly is really to utilize the strengths that each of us possess and really to combine that into something greater that benefits all of us in the community. So it's a very youth driven community, and we also work with a group of older professionals called Rotarians, yeah, in pushing for our projects as well. Yeah, so this for this project, I think it's a very great opportunity that we managed to actually work with TWC2 and to work on a very community centric and a very meaningful project. Yeah.
Right. So I understand that Rotaract District 3310 is organizing a smartphone donation drive in collaboration with TWC2 to seek donations for functioning smartphones from the public for the migrant workers of Singapore. So these phones will be used, like I understand from the conversation earlier, that it will be used for them to contact their family or just go about downloading applications and all. So maybe how's the phone drive going, and what could the audience do if they say they have a phone that they might not need it and they would like to donate it?
So on Rotaract's part, we actually have an Instagram post on how the public can donate their spare working phone if they have one. So there will be a Google form on our Instagram account as well. And what they can do is they can actually access that form through our Instagram page that we can share with you all later on. And if let's say they do not have a spare working phone but they will still like to help, they can still do so by helping us to spread the word of this donation drive to like their family, friends, or their contacts that they have. Because even if they don't have the spare working phone, their contacts may have one, and that will really help us in terms of getting more donations.
Okay. So what are maybe what are some phones that maybe there are some requirements on the phones that would you all like prefer to be donated, as well as maybe if they have a phone, how could they reach out to your initiative?
For the specific sorry. For the phone, it must be at least 3G, because I think there's still some 2G phones, but 2G phone is not in use anymore. And it must be able to read like SIM cards. Like some phones still work, but they cannot detect like the SIM card. So because the migrant workers require the phone to have the function to call like their families or like employees, so we'll need the phone to be able to detect SIM cards and like Wi-Fi network, internet network, and it must be compatible with like the applications that we need in COVID-19, such as Trace Together, and some other applications that they would need would be like the MOM work pass. I'm not sure if that's the correct term, but it's a MOM application. Then other requirements would be the screen must be not say in perfect condition, but not have a cracked screen preferably. Then if they would like to reach out to us, they can contact us through our Rotaract page, or they can actually head to TWC2's Instagram page, because they have also helped publicize about this smartphone donation drive.
Okay. Cool. So the link will be in the description in the box. The link will be in the description box below. So you can, if you have a phone that meets the requirements, can definitely reach out to them. So I mean, you've been running the drive for a few months already, I guess. So how's the reception been, and maybe how has the migrant workers started using the phones and all?
We received about 7 phones this week. So we've, over the course of this weekend, actually, like just today, we finished delivering all of their 7 phones. So they've gone to a variety of locations. But currently, we're sort of more focused on smaller, more isolated areas, such as hotels, where some of the workers are currently staying, or such as the Gemini cruise ship, the Gemini and Aquarius cruise ships, which are berthed at Marina South in that area. Currently, MOM does have a form for employers to fill in if they require phones and so on. But we haven't really heard about how that works yet. So we've reached out to some of the workers in like larger dorms who are staying with their colleagues about whether they can reach out to their employers to procure phones for them. Because I think for us, the demand for phones is always going to outpace what we can get.
I think it's really great that two different community organizations can come together and collaborate to come up with such initiatives. So apart from spreading awareness as a volunteer, what do you think are some of the other roles volunteers can also do to take part and support in this cause?
Okay, maybe I'll just start first. I think we have to bear in mind that the purpose of this is much broader than just getting workers phones and so on. I think there's this sort of like distinction between charity and justice that's used quite often. That, you know, charity is about sort of like, how can I help? While justice is more about asking, why is this happening in the first place? So I think even as maybe not everyone has the capacity to help directly. For instance, I wasn't really able to do deliveries and like drive around because I can't drive, my family has no car, and I've got people at risk at home. So I've been volunteering remotely for the most part, where sort of like trying to get the more like boring admin things done, setting up spreadsheets, figuring out how to intake cases and so on. And, you know, all of this work is quite boring, but still necessary. So those are capacities that people can help as well. Like we have one volunteer who's been helping us with admin remotely. And I think beyond that, even if you can't do like direct services, you should also, you know, engage the people around you in a conversation about, you know, what's like how is migrant labor treated in currently? What is the migration structure like? And are there things that we should change about that? So I think that would go a very long way in changing the status quo.
I see. So I understand that this has been started I mean recently, but a few months already. What do you think are some of the, you know, maybe some tips to raising donations, such as, you know, like a phone or anything, you know, just from your experience? What are some of the tips to raising donations?
I say reaching out to people personally. So I think something that's been really helpful is when we ask people to sort of like reach out to their immediate social circles, as opposed to like possibly reposting things. Because actually before Kai Sing and the rest of the Rotaract Club came into the picture, I was sort of like just like posting on Instagram and asking my friends personally, which sort of like was exhausted very fast. But I found it was generally more effective for some people who told me, oh, hey, I reached out to my family and it actually helped a lot more than when I like reposted this thing on Instagram.
Yeah, I do understand that word of mouth is also quite important. But apart from that, do you think there's also other useful platforms that people, I mean, volunteers can leverage on in order to, you know, raise donations or just raise awareness about a public cause?
Yeah, I can just share. I think like the Telegram groups that currently exist are also quite helpful. Like for example, the heartbeats, like what like this was introduced to me by Taiwan. I think this kind of platform will actually allow us to further reach out to more people about like initiatives that they would want people to be concerned about, like because there will be already like a number of people that are in these particular groups that they want to like look out for like initiatives that people are coming up with. So I think by targeting these existing groups, it will really help a lot because they already have like a certain number of people inside, rather than just trying to like, how do I say it? Like rather than just promoting it on a sole platform. I think having multiple platforms to publicize like your initiative is also quite important and helpful to raise awareness about the initiative that you want people to be aware of.
Yes, I think that's interesting and very good ideas in which youth can really kickstart their initiatives or a cause in which they really advocate for. So I think for the audience, if you're interested or passionate to find out more about a certain social issue, as well as to maybe know more about why some operations that go on. So I think it's really a good step to start volunteering, or just taking the step to maybe like donate a small an item in which could really be go a long way to helping another party or another individual out there. I think that volunteering or such small acts can really go a long way, and it's the first step to understanding all these social issues or certain phenomena that exist within society. Yep, and I think it's a really interesting points that you all brought up regarding how we can tap onto leverage on our own social circles to start spreading the word of mouth and getting the initiative out there. And we all know a certain group of people, and then a group of people will know other people, and that's when like initiatives can really word of mouth can really travel far, and it really serve the needs of this community that exists, which is a really nice thing. I think they will really be appreciative of your efforts that you have put in. Right. So maybe interestingly, are there any challenges that you all faced through this process, and how do you all maybe get around them?
Okay, maybe I'll start first. I think because we've been delivering directly to workers, it's been a real journey. Sometimes we face like difficulties trying to deliver to dorms, where sort of like we show up at the dormitory and then they're like, sorry, you can't donate here, or you can't make this delivery. So then I think it becomes very important to try to manage relationships, especially with dormitories, and try to get them to see our point of view. That as much as, they're also trying to prevent the spread of COVID, but we're also trying to get items that are needed and sort of like work out some kind of agreement based on that. So for instance, certain dormitories have like a strict delivery timings, or sometimes we've got to like call ahead to let them know to begin with. And I guess it's also been an exercise in learning how to pace yourself and not to burn people out, because we've been running with a very lean team. It's about 6 of us. And we've had like over 450 requests since we started on 8 May. So it's also important to not just like try to focus on doing the work that you're doing, but also watch out and take care of the people that you're working with as well. Yeah, because their well-being is also important.
Right. So I think just to turn back the message to of this initiative that TWC2 and Rotaract Club have been working on together. So if you have any smartphones that you guys might not need, you can always donate them to this drive, and it will go a long way in helping these workers out there. Right. So maybe is there anything else to add on to the sharing?
I think it's important to remember that it's ultimately about the long-term game, because I think right now it's very, with COVID and whatnot, it's very easy to feel sort of like disempowered and helpless if you feel like you're not really able to help right now. But so I guess something that helps us to remember that this is a long-term thing, and that maybe if you've got other responsibilities, you're not as able to be as involved as you'd like to be. It's okay, honestly, because this is a much more long-term thing, and you can always take on more responsibility, organize more when you're ready.
Yeah, I would like to add on. So I think when it comes to doing community project, I think what is important is this concept of knowing and to be known. So knowing is more of like you educate yourself on what are the available platforms out there. So for example, what organization is like what mission are they working on? Like for example, for the TWC2 will be on migrant workers, right? Yeah. So knowing about the different platforms out there, I think is a good first step. And second one is to be known, which is you let people know what you want to do. Yeah. Ultimately, there will be people you know who approach you with the relevant network. Yeah. So I think it always goes both ways. There's actually a lot of people in our own network that they have so much resources. And to be honest, when I was participating in this initiative, I was actually a bit surprised to know that so many of my friends actually they actually reach out and say that, hey, can I know more about this? Can I share this initiative with my friends? Or I've actually have 2 phones, but I don't know whether they are workable or not. Yeah, could you help me to check? And things like that. So I think the overall the responses that I received were really, really very positive, more than what I expected initially. So I think if you go by the idea of just knowing and be known, just let people know about what you want to do, and also educate yourself on the other resources out there, then I think there's a lot of opportunities that will arise ultimately. And and we can do so much more if, let's say, these are all communicated like publicly. Yeah.
Right. So I think that is something that we should bear in mind when we do volunteering projects, or we just help out within community. It's always important to know why we're doing what we're doing, and be thankful for the people who step forward to help us along the way. Right. So just to reiterate, in this initiative, as well as you can check out volunteering opportunities from both TWC2 as well as Rotaract. They really run a lot of other initiatives out there, and campaigns involving not only just direct volunteering but also advocacy for the social issues or the groups in which they champion. Right. So if you do have a smartphone that you feel like maybe you're not really sure if it's donatable, you can just look for them, reach out, and hopefully that there'll be something that could come up from that. Right. So I'd like to thank the volunteers from Rotaract as well as from TWC2, which is Transit Workers Council, for sharing about your amazing initiative and the work that you've been doing on the ground and all the little takeaways and experiences that we have shared today. So hopefully more members of the public will step forward and contribute to this cause. Right. So thank you so much for your time.